What really ticks you off at the range? This week on Mail Call Monday. I'm John McQuay with 8541 Tactical, and this is Mail Call Mondays, the show that answers your questions about precision rifles, optics, and equipment. Well, this week we are going to talk about range etiquette, range safety, and the stuff that really ticks you off at the range. Now, this show is really dedicated to new shooters, and it may be a little bit intimidating for a new shooter to roll out to a public range where there are a bunch of experienced shooters and have to jump in and get with the flow and do what needs to be done. But we're going to cover a couple of things that you guys pointed out that really irritates you at the range. I'm going to talk about some of the things that irritate me at the range and key points that new shooters need to keep in mind when they're at the range. First of all, let's go over some of the pet peeves that you guys gave us that bother you at the range. Now, I'm just going to read a couple of them here. I encourage you guys to go over to our Facebook page and read the extended responses. Some of them are pretty humorous. Some of them go into great detail. So make sure you go over there and check those out. And we'll leave a link down in the description below. Brett hit on one of my really hot button points, and that's people that pick up my brass while I'm shooting without asking if they can have it. Those of us that do precision rifle reloading, we spend a lot of time to make sure that those brass cases are just really tuned in, that they are perfectly prepped, that they're fire formed for the rifle that we're shooting in. There is a lot of care that goes into each one of those cases. So nothing will make me go nuts quicker than somebody stealing my brass. Now, I realize that sometimes I may be firing a semi-automatic rifle that may kick it over to the next firing point. That doesn't mean I'm giving it away free. If you're, a nice, considerate kind of person, then stack it up in a pile and I'll come get it as soon as I'm done firing my string, or just leave it lay where it's at and I'll come pick it up. But don't grab it and throw it in your shooting bag and then make me come hunt it down when I realize that I'm 10 or 15 cases short out of the ammo that I brought to the range. I do have rifles that I shoot that I don't currently reload for. I have pistols I shoot that I don't currently reload for, and maybe if it's brass that I don't intend to do anything with, I'll be more than happy to let you keep it, but ask first. So definitely don't pick up anybody else's brass unless your intention is to pick it up and give it back to them. Don says, muzzle sweep. Absolutely. Safety is first and foremost at the range. Anytime you're shooting, especially on a public range, but really anytime you're handling a firearm, two things you always want to keep in mind. Where is my muzzle and where is my trigger finger? Your muzzle should never be pointed at anything you don't intend to shoot, and your trigger finger should always be straightened off the trigger until you intend to fire. I have on occasion stood up from firing my string, turned around, looked down range, or look down the firing line and see some goofball at the other end monkeying with his rifle sideways pointed straight down the firing line back at me. That will earn you a conversation with me. I don't point my weapon at anybody else unless they've done something wrong. I don't want somebody else pointing their weapon at me. It's something I take kind of personal. Robin Shan sent, newbies don't walk downrange to set up a target while shooters are firing. Absolutely. If you bring it, put it up to shoot at, take it with you. Clean up your area, trash in the cans, please. This is actually a problem that we have at our local range quite a bit. I'm a member of a members-only range called Red Brush Rifle Range, and for the most part we have some really considerate and safe members. However, we also have some people that just trash the range, and I don't understand it. Sure, there are all kinds of fun things out there to shoot at. I've no problem with people bringing 2-liter jugs, milk jugs, all kinds of other stuff out there. Set it out on the range and shoot it. But if it's trash, pick it up when you're done. Same thing with targets. Don't put targets up and leave targets downrange and just figure since you've filled them full of holes, somebody else may want to fill them full of holes too. Once you've shot your targets, pick them up, throw them away, and bring your target stands back in. Leaving your target stands downrange, if they're ranged target stands, is just making more work for somebody else, because now they have to go out and get the target stands and bring them back in before they prep them and put them out. Or they may have to go hunt them down and then move them to another firing point if they want to shoot at a different distance. Our current range is really bad about this, because they will go out and you'll find 20 target stands sitting down at the 200-yard line, maybe when you want to shoot 100 yards. So now you have to go down, pick up the target stands, bring them back. Or, they'll leave them out there and the guy that mows the grass has to mow around all the target stands. It's really just ridiculous. So leave the range in a better condition than you found it. Pick up your trash. If somebody else left some trash out, pick it up too. I even try to bring extra target stands in whenever I'm done shooting, but there are days I just don't have an hour to clean up the range before I'm ready to leave. So I pick up my stuff, I bring my stuff in, and I police up my brass, and then make sure I haven't left anything behind. If everybody else did it, the range would be a whole lot nicer place. Joseph says, I get annoyed when the old farts bitch about a muzzle brake. Grow a pair. Well, Joseph, I can see both sides of it. You'll hear me complain about muzzle brakes in competition and on the firing line, but most of my complaining is in jest, because really about half my rifles are also equipped with muzzle brakes. So, I give as well as I get. The whole muzzle brake thing, the way that I look at it is, if I am shooting a rifle that I know is exceptionally loud, then I will try to set up away from other shooters. I really try to do that anyway, so that I'm not hitting them with brass, they're not hitting me with brass, I'm not being affected by whatever they're shooting. So I try to stay away from other shooters if there's room on the firing line. If there is not room on the firing line and we're stacked up right next to each other, I'm probably going to let that other shooter know, hey, this is a braked rifle, it's going to have some punch to it, and give them fair warning and maybe coordinate with them so we're not both on the guns firing at the same time. If you can't, you can't. That's life. Just make sure your muzzle is forward of the other shooter when you fire. Make sure you got hearing and eye protection on, and make sure that they do as well. It's just, common courtesy. Respect your neighbor. Make sure they understand what's getting ready to happen. If you slide up onto the range and your range allows it, you got a 50 BMG with a brake on it, it may be a good idea to let other people know what you're getting ready to unleash. It will just, keep your friends on the firing line. You really don't want to make enemies on the shooting range. Kyle sends 22 shooters who don't feel it's necessary to police their brass. I have to go out to the range every time I get ready to shoot, grab the broom, and sweep the firing points before I lay a shooting mat down, because there are piles of 22 brass everywhere. Now, I do realize that 22 ammo is really cheap. It's not as cheap as it used to be. It used to be very cheap and very plentiful, but it's still cheaper than centerfire ammo. So it's a great thing to shoot. I let my kids shoot 22s all the time, but they know they're responsible for their brass. When we shoot our 22s, the 22 casings go back into the boxes that they came with. I'll usually bring them home and dump them in my brass scrap bin, but if not, they go in the trash can. Pick it up. Don't leave it scattered all over the deck so that the next guy has to do something with it before he shoots. That, and they're a little bit of a slip hazard too. Round 22 cases underfoot, they're not the greatest thing to be dancing on when you're on flat concrete. It could end up with somebody crashing and falling, and that's a really nasty way to end your range day. So if you shoot them and they're all over the range, grab a broom, sweep them up, throw them in the trash, or put them in a nice little pile, and one of the brass vultures will come along and pick them up and recycle them. That's probably the better option. Jack sent us a one-word pet peeve: multicam. Now, I'm a bit of a multicam junkie when it first came out. I've got a couple of sets of multicam utilities that I'll wear when I'm shooting tactical matches, law enforcement or military matches, where we're actually crawling, going over obstacles, barricades, that kind of stuff, because it is very similar to what I worked in. It's very similar to what I patrolled in for many years. So it's very comfortable for me to throw on a set of BDUs and go to work. For a regular, relaxing day at the range, you'll generally see me there in shorts and a t-shirt. Depending on what I'm shooting, if it's not a semi-automatic where I have to worry about hot brass, you may even find me shooting in sandals. It happens pretty often. I want to be relaxed, I want to be casual, and really just there's no reason to wear every piece of tack gear that you own if you're going to the range for a shooting session. Now again, if you're training for something specific, there's a reason for that. But if you're just a regular Joe going for some target practice, it's just going to make you look funny. People are going to give you odd looks, and it's going to be hard to take you seriously when you're geared up from head to toe. So new guys, keep that in mind. You don't have to throw on every piece of military gear you own to go to the range for target shooting. Mike says, people that go to socialize hate when I'm shooting groups and people would rather talk and take 20 minutes to go down range to set up targets. Well, Mike, I kind of have mixed feelings on this one, because a lot of guys do go to the range just to hang out with their buddies, shoot a couple of rounds. I will see the older guys do this quite a bit, retirees that are out there, and they'll shoot maybe one round every 30 or 40 minutes. And for the most part, I don't really have any problem with it. They're there enjoying their time shooting. It's as much about getting out into the fresh air and the sunshine and seeing friends as it is anything else. We've got a couple of guys that I saw them there for a while at our range that would show up on the same day every week, and there'd be about 3 of them, and they'd get out their guns and they'd break out the coffee and they'd sit and talk for 2 hours. I don't know that I ever actually saw them shoot around downrange, but that's their thing. As long as you're not holding up the rest of the line, it's really not a big deal. If you want to sit and socialize and talk and whatnot, then do so. But make sure that your socializing is not impacting other shooters' ability to shoot. And please do not take your buddies downrange to go inspect your target and then spend 30 minutes at your target downrange talking about your shot groups. If it's something that you have to inspect that closely, pull the target, put a fresh target up, bring your target back in, and then when the rest of the line goes hot, sit there and converse about what's going on with your target. Don't make us hold up the line because you want to inspect every nuance of it downrange. And that's just, again, being polite to the other shooters. Don't make them wait on you. You wouldn't really want to sit and wait for hours for them. Some of us are actually there to do things, and we have a schedule that we got to keep. We've got to get to the range, do what we need to do, and get back, for instance, for video processing, etc. So we're on a timeline. So, keep that in mind. Just be polite and be considerate. And finally, Jason mentions shooting my steel without asking. Shooting my steel, shooting my targets. This is really an irritation for me. If I bring something to the range to shoot, it's because I want to shoot it. If I'm doing something specific, don't go banging away on my stuff because it may mess up what I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to, get a group that I'm going to take a picture of for an article I'm writing, then if you start drilling that target, it's going to screw things up. If I'm trying to adjust the scope and you start shooting on my target, it's going to screw things up. And it just, generally, again, courtesy. I paid for the target, so if you go shooting on it and break my target for whatever reason, then that's money you've cost me. Now, on the flip side of things, I don't know that I have ever told someone that they couldn't shoot on my steel if they've asked. I've asked maybe that they wait until I'm done with the string or done with what I'm doing, but then allow them to shoot away. I use fairly high quality steel targets, AR-500 and AR-550 steel, that unless you're just really shooting it with some wicked cartridge, you know, if you're shooting with a 50 BMG, I may ask that you not do that on my targets. Or if you're shooting with steel core ammo, I'm going to ask that you not do that. But we have had instances in the past where other guys have brought their steel out to the range and another shooter thought it'd be a cool idea to shoot it and didn't realize that although it is a steel target, it is designed to be shot by rifle ammo. If you shoot your steel core M855 on it, you may punch a hole in it. At the least, you're going to damage the strike face on that target. So ask if you want to shoot somebody else's steel and, you know, have a conversation with the other guys on the range if you're putting your steel out and ask them not to shoot it. Now, if I got paper targets downrange, do not shoot my paper targets. That irritates me to no end. And also, this is where it comes back to those guys that will go out and slap a magazine in and just dump rounds downrange. If I've got a target down at 300 yards and you're just capping away at stuff, there's a really good chance that you're going to put a hole or two in my target downrange. So be considerate. If other guys have targets downrange, make sure that you're setting up in a position and you're shooting in a manner that is not going to have your stray bullets going through their targets. That can be a great irritation for other guys, and in some cases it may get you thrown off the range. So bear those things in mind. For the new shooters out there, safety is key. When you get to the range, maybe take a few minutes and just stop and watch how things are running, watch what's going on. Every range has different rules. Basically, if you're a new shooter at the range, first of all, obey the 4 firearm safety rules. Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Never point a weapon at anything you don't intend to shoot. Keep your finger straight and off the trigger until you intend to fire, and know your target and what lies beyond. Don't muzzle people. If there are people downrange, don't handle your firearms. Make sure the range is cold before you go forward to that firing line, and make sure you adhere to any other rules that are on that range. Talk to your other shooters. Be considerate of your other shooters. Everybody is there because they enjoy shooting firearms. Some are more skilled than others. Some know more than others. Some think they know more than they know. Just deal with it and roll on, but be polite and be considerate. And it'll just make the range a better place for all of us. And when you're packing up your stuff and you're getting ready to go, make sure you left the range better than you found it. That's about it. As I said, we have a long list of people's pet peeves over on our Facebook page, so we'll leave a link down below and go ahead and click over there and check out what some of the other pet peeves are and read some of the detailed stuff. But keep it polite and keep it clean if you decide to post up there. That's all we have for this week. If you've liked our video, make sure you click that thumbs up button. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or send them to us on Facebook or Twitter. Please make sure you share our video wherever you happen to hang out on your Facebook page or on your Twitter feed. We appreciate the coverage. If you're a subscriber, thank you very much. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And until next time, get out and shoot!